always seem to be surprised whenever I tell them that I am a full-time reseller. So in today's video, I'm going to be explaining exactly how I actually do it. Hey guys, it's Erlia, otherwise known as martziechic, and on this channel we talk about reselling tips, sourcing trips, and everything in between. If this is your first time on my channel, hello and welcome. I am a full-time clothing reseller and I sell just under 6 figures a year currently, so I definitely know what I'm talking about. I've been reselling for over 5 years now, so if you want to learn more about reselling, or if you just want to learn some tips and tricks along the way, you would get so much benefit out of subscribing to this channel. So do hit that button down below if you want to join this great community, and also turn on your notifications so that way you're the first one to be notified of any future uploads. So the 5 tips I want to give you guys today are both from my own experience and my experience going to FlipCon, the event hosted by Harry Tornado and Phoenix Resale. I learned so much from this conference and I got to observe a lot of other resellers and how they ran their businesses, so this is definitely inspired by that as well. And as always guys, if you gain any benefit from this video whatsoever, I would love to know down in the comments, but I would also really appreciate it if you gave me your thumb down below for the YouTube algorithm. Now let's get into it. The first tip for successful reselling that I want to share with you guys today is just to know that reselling is a numbers game. So there are 2 numbers that I want to point out to you guys today. If you've never heard of what they are, I want you to pay very close attention to them because they're definitely what has propelled my business into making 10 times more profit. Those 2 numbers are your sell-through rate as well as your average profit per item. Now, I know there are videos on YouTube already talking about the numbers behind reselling businesses. So basically how much you should be listing per day compared to your sell-through rate. So how much you would sell through per day or per month on average. Especially if you're not a math person, I feel like these things could help you simplify it down to the basics. So the first number I want you to pay attention to is your sell-through rate. So if you guys aren't already on eBay, I would really recommend that you get on eBay. Number 1, it is the best reselling platform around. I could be biased, but they have the most number of users, so if that tells you anything, they've been in the game for a very, very long time. But the key about using eBay here is that they have a Terapeak subscription whenever you have a store, and if you've never heard of Terapeak before, I would highly recommend that you either get a subscription or get on eBay and get an eBay store to have access to it. It is the best tool out there for resellers. But basically, when you go on Terapeak, you can search for any item that you are thinking about buying, and it will give you a sell-through rate for the past 30 days, 90 days, and it'll tell you how many things have been selling throughout the past year if you choose that long of a time period. So for the amount of items I have listed, I do have a sell-through rate in mind for my own business, but this could vary for you based on if you are a bulk seller or if you're picking up a lot of things at the bins and you don't have a lot of upfront costs. What I mean by this is you could potentially source a lot of bulk items and you could get away with having a lower sell-through rate as long as you have a lot more items listed. But if you want to have a smaller store, you're going to have items that have a higher sell-through rate. So you're going to want to focus on things that maybe have a sell-through rate of 15 to 20% more or higher. Now, you could try to go both routes and get the best of both worlds, but what I'm going to tell you is that the sourcing for that method is going to get consistently harder. So if you can find those items, great. If you can't, that's okay as well. Just figure out what works best for you. The second thing that I want you to pay attention to is your average profit per item. At the beginning of my journey, I mistakenly thought that this was my average sales price, and I had to learn the hard way that that was not the case. So if you're paying $60 for an item and it only sells for $100, after fees, you might only make $20. That is simply just not enough profit compared to the upfront cost of the item that I am purchasing. So I wouldn't be able to buy that item. However, if I buy an item for $30 and it sells for maybe $150 to $200, my profit is a lot larger. So I do again have a profit goal for myself, and usually if I'm at the bins, it's any item that is $30 profit or more. Sometimes I do get away with less, but it just depends on what I'm finding that day. Anything that I find that day that's under the $30 mark, I usually sell to other people in bulk, so that way I can make my money back faster and get a profit faster for those items. And overall, this might be controversial to some of you, but I don't buy emotionally most of the time when I'm sourcing items. It's either because I know that item sells well for me, or I know that that item will flip fast for me. So if I get an item and I know I can make a quick $40 to $50 profit within 24 to 48 hours, I absolutely would pick up that item even if it is expensive. However, I usually try to go back into my data sheets and figure out what items are giving me the best profit and have the best sell-through rate for me. So that way I don't make any rash decisions when I am sourcing, and then I'm saving myself the regret of sourcing items that are not selling. So I would highly recommend that you look into the data of your items that you're picking up before you buy them. This could mean checking comps for you, but I really would recommend Terapeak. I could not recommend that more to you guys if you've never heard of it before, especially if you are a Poshmark, Mercari seller, or even a Whatnot seller. It will give you a great insight into what audiences are currently looking for right now across the world. So some questions that you should be asking yourself for this first tip here are, do you know how much you should be listing per day? Do you know how much you should be spending on inventory per day or per month? And do you know what the sell-through rate of your items are? If you don't know any of the answers to these questions, I would really recommend looking into your data further so that way you can benefit your business and make it go a little bit faster for yourself. The second tip I have for you guys is actually one that I figured out from FlipCon, and that is to ask for help. You know, I don't think that I am the very best person at this. I remember when I went to college my freshman year, I don't know if any of you guys have had this experience before, but at least in my college, we had an orientation period where they taught us a whole bunch of different social skills. And the first thing that they taught us was to always ask for help. And in that exercise, I think I was probably the last person to ask for help when I needed it. So this is something that I currently struggle with, but something that I've gotten better with in the process. So when I went to FlipCon, I was very shocked to find out a lot of full-time resellers actually have full-time virtual assistants. I know I had seen a video from Recloth Collection, and I'll try to link it up above here or down below for you guys, about hiring people on Upwork. You can hire them across the world, it doesn't matter where, and you can also invite people that you know to apply to those jobs. So if you know someone locally and you just want them to apply through there, that's fine as well. But I was really shocked that a lot of people had virtual assistants. I don't think I met one person that didn't, so that was very surprising to me and really made me look into getting a VA for myself, because I've been very inconsistent listing or posting YouTube videos or doing any type of thing related to my business because I'm the one that's doing it all. So it also really encouraged me to get a photographer to help me part-time during the week, because without that, I couldn't be able to be consistent on other things like listing or like creating drafts or like editing this YouTube video that I'm currently filming. As someone who had been doing full-time reselling for just over a year by myself, I'm going to tell you that if you don't get help sooner rather than later, you are definitely going to reach burnout. I believe that I probably burned out several times within the past year just because I didn't have any help and I was not being consistent enough to see results within my business. So that was something that was really hard for me, and at one point I really just had to buckle down in my business and leave YouTube behind because I knew I could only focus on one specific aspect, and that was making sure that I was actually having profit in my business before anything else. But now that I have help, and now that I've hired help specifically, I can move into other avenues of my business that I probably wouldn't have been able to before. So that's just something that you guys, I think, should keep in mind as well. You don't have to do it all, and in fact, in the future, you could fully hire out every portion of your business if you wanted to. So don't believe the lie that you are the only person that can do your job. But that leads us to the third tip, and it's something that you cannot escape, and that is to create systems. So another reselling team that I love to watch is Hustlin' Hooks, and I got to meet a dean at FlipCon, and he had really talked about the importance of creating systems for yourself. So what that can look for you is having a system for your inventory, having a system for how everything is being put away, having a photography system, and having handbooks and examples for how employees could run things, or just how you run things that you would like to delegate onto someone else in the future is a great way to propel your business to the next level, to save time, and to create expectations for the people working for you so you know that there's never any miscommunication. Now, I would say that this isn't the most exciting tip that I could give you guys, but it definitely saves you time and money. So if you can spend the time now creating the systems that will benefit you later and that you can tweak later, it definitely will help you out in the future. Up next is the fourth tip, and that is actually to buy in bulk. Now, a lot of you you might not agree with me on this, and that is totally okay. Your experience is your experience. But I know for clothing at least, it's almost just like I can never get enough of it. And I have an issue with that because I have other people working for me, so I want to make sure that I constantly have enough inventory. So this is something I'm constantly improving upon, is making connections, networking with people, and allowing people, again, to help me find inventory that I would have otherwise not had access to. So again, Hustlin' Hooks is another great example of this, but also if you follow Holly over on eBay Princess on Instagram, you know that she does a lot of bulk loss. I know that Daily Refinement Chris is also doing this now over on Whatnot, and let me tell you, these people are great examples of moving things in bulk. I will say that not everyone will be as successful at this as others, but I will say that you can make a lot of money buying things in bulk, and you can also save yourself a lot of time making connections with people that can source things for you, so that way you're not running around all the time and worrying about if you're going to find enough inventory or not. Now, all of these bulk buys actually really reduce the overall carbon impact we're having on our planet, as well as the time spent driving, traveling to get these items. You can really reduce that impact. So that is just one way that I think would really benefit some of you, and something that I'm really excited to move into now in the future. So if any of you are watching this and you're just part-time sellers, but you are in the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area, let me know. I would absolutely love to connect with you guys and buy some things off of you in bulk. Even for designer pieces, I will pay up for them. So just let me know if you've been selling things into the Real and you just don't want to sell them yourself. I will absolutely buy them from you. And the fifth and final tip I have for you guys today is to be open to trying new things. So a great recent example of this would have to be Whatnot. And before you guys click off of this video, one thing that I want to explain to you is that people have made a lot of money on Whatnot already, and their fees are 90% plus a 30% PayPal fee. So anything that you're making on any other selling platform, such as Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, really dwarfs in comparison to selling things in bulk at a 10% fee from Whatnot. Now, I was hesitant to start Whatnot myself. Honestly, the true reason behind it was I don't want to have to get ready every single morning and put myself on a live camera when I'm already doing that for a video here and there, when I am taking photos of myself for my Instagram or taking videos for Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, etc. Like, there is so much that goes into my own business that I was like, okay, how am I gonna have time for Whatnot? And after meeting everyone at FlipCon and learning what they're actually making on that platform, I just kept thinking, why wouldn't I do it? Like, what's the harm in trying that platform? So if you've been a Whatnot hater, I would actually just really recommend that you sign up for it at least and see if you can watch other people's shows to see what you like in a live show. One quote that I really live my life by is that if you don't take the risk, you're gonna lose the chance. So if you don't do it now, you are going to potentially miss out on a lot of profit, a lot of money, a lot of growth for yourself, and a lot of experience, because I feel like experience is the number one thing that you have to gauge yourself on. So that is just one example, but this could mean trying new things. Like, maybe you've never tried a different cross-listing software and your cross-listing software gives you trouble, but you've just never thought about changing it yourself. Or maybe you say you've never tried Tradesy before and everyone talks down on Tradesy, but now that it's going into Vestiaire Collective, maybe now you're like, okay, maybe it'll be better. Maybe I should give it a try. Just trying things and hopping on trends will really propel you forward, and I don't think that there's any harm in trying. And anyone that badmouths you for trying a new thing is just jealous of how you're moving forward and how great it's going to be for you moving forward. So if you ever need someone that is in your corner to be a cheerleader, let me know. You can always DM me and I will be there to cheer you on. No matter who you are, I would love to connect with you guys. So anyways, those are my 5 tips today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did and you learned something, make sure to give me your thumbs up down below again. And that way I can know to keep creating these types of videos for you guys, because I really miss creating them. So anyways, guys, I will see you in my next video. Bye!